Having ran all things money for the past 4 years, I know just how keen many of you guys are to start your very own businesses. Because of this, I'm joined with Oje, one of the co-founders of Beard Surgeon, to discuss how you can start and build your very own 7-figure business. Hello, Oje. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, I'm happy to be here.
Bright lights in the studio. How do you feel?
I feel like I'm on the BBC.
Good. We like that.
Yeah.
We like that. Well, for those listening, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. My name is Oje Ohonyon. I'm one of the co-founders of Beard Surgeon Limited. What can I say about myself? From South London, Nigerian. Grew up in, Southeast London. Went to all boys school. Started off my career as an IT project manager.
Okay.
So that's what I was doing for a while. I was managing, $1 million projects, working for the likes of Pure Gym, McDonald's. And then after that, I always knew I wanted to, have my own business. And whilst I was doing that, I always started businesses. So I had a few businesses that I started and I failed. I had a rental company, so I'd rent vehicles to Uber drivers specifically.
Okay.
I wanted to start a food dining club before. I've started so many different businesses, yeah. And then I started Beard Surgeon, and since then things have been going smoothly. So I've just basically transitioned from the corporate life to a full-time entrepreneur.
And how are you finding the journey so far?
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's teaching me that a lot of the lessons that I went through, or a lot of the experiences I went through whilst working in the corporate world, was just preparing me for life as an entrepreneur.
And here we are with a 7-figure business.
Yes,
so I guess I'm keen to really know what made you start, especially after your many ventures. What made you start Beard Surgeon?
Yeah, so it was really my two good friends, Abby and Tari. They proposed the idea to me. They made the product and they said, "Look, OJ, this is the next best thing, and we want you to be a part of it. We think it's going to be great." And at the time, I was seeing a lot of businesses buzzing around. This was just around the COVID era, just after COVID.
Okay.
I was seeing a lot of businesses buzzing around, doing really good numbers, and an e-commerce business is something I always wanted to have. The idea of making money in your sleep.
Yeah.
That was the quote that was going on in my head at that time, and I thought, what, I don't have nothing to sell online. These guys have brought this product to me. Let me join the team and let's see what happens. And that's what really, that's what made it happen.
Yeah, and no regrets so far?
Oh, no regrets. No regrets. The only regret is I wish you started sooner.
That's always a thing, isn't it? Hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
So I guess for my listeners today, many people probably haven't heard of OJ before, haven't heard of Beard Surgeon, so I wanted them to get to know you a little bit better. So I've got a couple of quick fire questions for you, okay? Sure. So one of my first questions is, what's the most expensive thing you've ever spent your money on?
It's actually quite recent, house renovation.
Okay.
Yeah, so bought a house recently with my partner, and we renovated it, and I spent quite a lot of money on it.
Do you care to divulge in how much?
In total, the whole project cost about 120k.
Oof, that is a lot, isn't it? More than? Would you say it's more than what the house cost?
Yeah. No. The renovation cost more than the house? No.
Okay, I was going to say.
No. Yeah, the house cost a lot more than that, but
recently, that's probably the most.
And then before that, I think I bought a cheeky watch. My first Rolex. And,
Nice.
Yeah.
No, I like that. And I guess second question I have for you is, if you could share one piece of financial advice to your younger self, what would it be?
I think it would be to, how do I put it into words? Basically, when I was younger, and I still do this now sometimes, I would spend a lot of money and then I'll go for a period where I don't spend any money. And I think it's very, it puts a lot of stress on you as a person. So I think I would tell my younger self to not spend too much money on the enjoyment. Like spending money on holidays, because it's, I love holidays, I love to travel, and because, you generate memories, it's something I don't mind spending money on, but I think you have to do it within reason. So my justification would be spend a lot of money now, and then next year I'll save up. But the year I'm saving up, I'm stressed.
Yeah.
So I think I'll tell my younger self, do everything in moderation.
Yeah.
And budget appropriately.
Yeah, and balance just being key, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, I think I'd tell myself that as well, just because when I was younger, I was on the opposite side of the spectrum. I used to save everything I wouldn't enjoy. And like my mum used to be like, what are you hoarding all this money for? Like, it's not normal. And I think now I'm like a happy medium, I'd say, where like spend a little bit of money on holidays, but also like know how to budget accordingly. So I think that's really important. Now, I guess obviously on the podcast today, we're talking about building businesses and things like that. So I guess I'm really intrigued to know, especially with you and your other co-founders, how do you go about building Beard Surgeon?
Yeah, so we actually did something that's quite different to what everyone else in the market was doing at the time, and we went back to traditional marketing, word of mouth, directly selling to people on the street. So everywhere we would go, if I see a bearded person, I'm giving them a sample, I'm telling them what I do, and I'm giving them a business card. So we would terrorize the streets of Croydon. So that's what we started. We terrorize the streets of Croydon, go around giving out samples. I think there was a time we went to Wireless. Anywhere where there would be a lot of people, would have our backpacks full of samples and products, and we would build the business that way, giving out business cards. People would call us to get their oils, and that's what we did. We basically shouted about our business at every given opportunity, and that's how we built the business, and that's how opportunities came. And you'd be surprised who you meet when you're doing that. You could meet so many different people that can support you and take you to the next level. So that's how we built the business. We didn't rely on the online market, which is what every business seems to do when they first start, which is what we thought we needed to do. But we took it back to the traditional way of marketing our product, and that's how we built it.
Did you find that scary? Because I feel like a lot of people would be too scared to go out into the open.
Very, very scary. But you know what? Like I was saying before, when we were speaking, the things that you've done in the past can help. So in the past, there's been times where I've been really in the church, and when I was in the church, I had to do things like outreach.
Yeah.
So going out, speaking to people, telling them about Jesus Christ, and I didn't want to do that. I
feel like a lot of people find that part scary.
I don't want to. I just want to go to church, listen, go home. Like, that's it. That was me. But that experience really, showed me that I could do this.
Yeah.
So it was nerve-wracking, but because it was all three of us doing it together, that's what made it easier.
Yeah.
So that's why we were able to do it. And then the more you do it, and when you see results and you get people, like we would have a target. So today I'm going to give out 500 samples, for example. 500 samples, and I'm not going to go home until I've given out all those samples. Or I'm going to collect 500 followers or 100 followers on the Instagram. So that's how we did it.
I love that. And I guess quite a lot of people ask me the same, like, how are you so confident online? And I think sometimes you just have to fake it till you make it.
100%. You just have to.
Yeah.
You're not going to, the version of yourself that you need to be to take your business to the next level, you're not that version of yourself yet.
Yeah.
You have to do things that you don't want to do. And that's how you're going to build that character and build that person you need to be to take your business or whatever venture you're doing to the next level. Even business aside, when I was working in tech, I treated my employment as a business. I saw myself as someone that's providing a service to these companies, and I want to be the best at it so that I can dictate the terms, I can dictate how much they pay me, and I can develop my skills. So it's just about your mindset and how you see things. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether it's business or job. You should treat it with, that sort of seriousness and that sort of intent, because you don't know what opportunities are going to come your way.
Guys, I hope you're listening, because that was a very good gem there. I think, like you said, I think everyone needs to treat everything with seriousness, because like you said, you don't know where it's going to lead you, especially where a lot of people undervalue their jobs at the moment. I know a lot of my friends aren't loving their jobs at the moment, but you don't know what this current role is going to catapult you into. And I guess obviously a big thing when it comes to starting your own business is funding, right? So all things money, fortunately, I didn't have to really pay a lot of money to start the business. It's all online pretty much. I think the most, other than my .com domain name, I think my MacBook was probably the second most expensive thing I've ever invested in to the business. So I guess when you started Beard Surgeon, how did you go about funding it? Was it through fundraising, or did you look at bootstrapping? Yeah,
so we literally bootstrapped the business. Because I joined the business a couple of weeks later than the guys, my business partners, I had a bit of capital that I'd saved up. So during COVID, I was working. I think I was on furlough for a few months, but I was also doing Uber on the side.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was doing Uber, working, driving people around. You meet a lot of people doing Uber.
I can imagine.
So I was doing Uber, saving all my money, on furlough, doing Uber. So I was making double money. Yeah. So until the lockdown came and that ended my party. But so I had a bit of capital, so I invested that initially, and then we were just bootstrapping, myself and my business partners, putting money in. But then in order to grow your business, you need money, right? And the thing with, raising capital for your business is if you're not going to sell your shares, the only other way to really make money is through friends and family.
Okay.
So friends and family, we reached out to them, created a whole pitch deck, presented it to our friends, family.
wow.
Yeah, if you're trying to get money, you have to be serious.
Yeah.
Present your case, show them your figures, show them what you want to do with the money, give them, some people don't like to give interest, but I'm in the belief, I have the belief that if you're going to ask someone for money, it needs to be worth their
sure.
time, so that you should try and give them interest. So offer them interest, make sure that it aligns with your cash flow to make sure that you can pay it back in time. So we used ourselves, we used our friends and family, a very small amount of people actually invested. And then once you start making money as a business, then it's very easy to get money.
Okay.
But that money you're getting comes at a price.
I can imagine.
Yes.
So what do you mean by that?
The interest.
Your face says it all.
So this has been my whole year. So making money, so it's easy to get money now. And also, even before you start making money, it's important to know how much money you need to be making to be able to get money. So for example, I wanted to reach out to a company to get finance. They told me, look, you need to be revenuing 30K a month for 6 months. And at that point, we'll be able to give you some money. So I already knew, okay, this is the target. Yeah. This is what I need to be doing. And when I've hit this benchmark, we can get finance. If you don't know that, then it's like you're not planning, you're not working towards it. So that interest can come and it can really bite you. And what happens is when you're growing and you're scaling too quickly, you're getting loans from these different vendors, these different companies. Because it's easy to acquire, one, and because it's easier than going to a friend or a family member.
100%.
They can do this deal in like a week or a few days.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're dealing with a person, it could take a lot longer. So once you start taking a few of them, you're going to be thinking your company's going to be making the same amount of money every single month. But then something happens like January, or you might get ill, or anything can happen, and then these interest payments are coming out, and then it comes to bite, and it can cause a lot of stress. And that's sort of been my whole year. And I think it's only now, towards the end of the year, that I'm finally getting out of that hole.
Yeah. But I feel like as a business owner, you learn every day, right?
Yeah.
So what's probably one of the biggest things you've learned on your journey with Beard Surgeon?
So one of the things I would say is when starting a business, if you're starting a business and you think it's going to go really far and you're going to generate a lot of cash flow, I think it's very important to get set up in the right way. So when I say get set up in the right way, is having the right bank account. So for example, having a high street bank as your main bank account, or even if they're not your main bank account, at least having them as a bank account, because those banks will be the ones that will give you finance at a cheap rate, but it's going to take a while. Banks are very, very bureaucratic. It takes a long process, but it's part of the process. You just keep ticking on and doing what you need to do. So having that bank account with a bank would be really, really beneficial. And one thing I learned as well when it comes to having the right bank account with the banks is when you're filing your accounts, sometimes accountants file micro accounts, sometimes they file full accounts. They can do either or. But when you're trying to get finance from a bank, for example, they need full accounts. So if your accountant has filed micro accounts for whatever reason, then it's going to damage your opportunities to get finance from the bank. And then when it comes to credit scores, so it's not just your credit score that's important, it's every single person on the board's credit score.
Interesting.
So your co-founders. So if you've started business with someone and you're not sure what their credit score is, you better find out.
Yeah.
and if their credit score isn't great, then put plans in place to improve it. So I remember one time I was sitting down with my friends and we were looking for our credit scores, and this was a few years ago, and we were like, guys, this is madness. Like,
oh no,
we need to fix this. We put plans in place, we fixed it, and that's one thing I've learned. And another thing I've learned is really your assets. So if you're someone who doesn't really care for assets too much, but you want to start a business, I would say think again, because the assets that you have will allow you to raise capital on your business.
Interesting. When you say assets, what does that mean?
So it could be a property.
Okay.
It could be a family member's property if they're willing to, put that down for you, if they trust you. But you need assets. It could be your vehicles or whatever it is. You need assets that will help you get funding, because sometimes you don't want to give away your shares yet. You want to grow the business and increase your leverage before doing that. And once you're making money, getting money is easy.
Okay.
but you have to have the right assets to leverage. So making sure you have assets, and if you don't have assets, working towards getting them, making sure your credit's on point, and making sure yourself and all your co-founders are all on the same page.
Yeah, I think that's so important, especially when it comes to co-founders,
Yeah.
because I know many friends have sought out co-founders and for some reason or another, it's not worked out. And
Yeah.
the pain of losing a co-founder is a lot, let alone then trying to find another one, or just the stress associated with it all can be a lot, can't it?
Yeah, and your co-founder, they might have good credit, but they might have just recently purchased a house, or they might have purchased some vehicles, and that could affect their credit score. So it's just knowing, being on the same page.
Yeah, no, that's really handy.
Yeah.
And I guess obviously you've scaled Beard Surgeon now to the point where it's a 7-figure business, which is incredible. So how have you found the process of now scaling this business?
So when your business is making money, you feel like you're on top of the world. So you're making money that you've never seen before, and you're making money that you said, oh, when we're making this money, we've basically made it. But you haven't really made it because your expenses are high. So what I found is when the business was, we launched in Westfield Stratford, and that was our first kiosk, and things went crazy. This was last year, February. Things went crazy. We were making a lot of money, and we thought, okay, this money's coming in now. We have to spend it. And that's what we did. We spent it on different things, thinking that, we're making, let's say, for example, we're making 60K a month now.
Yes.
We want to make 100K a month. So we want to invest it to make.
Yeah.
But you end up spending money on the wrong things. And what we did was we scaled too quickly.
Okay.
So we started generating some money. We then went into getting our own manufacturing space.
Oh, wow. We
started hiring a lot of people to manufacture the product. We were just spending too much money. Then we had to build out the kiosk, and we had to get finance to do that, and that costs quite a lot of money. So you're doing all these things, trying to grow too quickly, spending the money on things you don't need to spend money on yet. And then what happens is when that scaling kind of just slows down, and you actually take a minute to look at what's going out, the money that's going out, you're thinking, wait, hold on, where's the savings? Where's the money for next year?
Oh gosh, yeah.
So it's like, but because you're in it every day, and the thing with Beard Surgeon is a bit different because us co-founders, we actually work in the business. And when I say work in the business, we are salesmen. So we are on the shop floor selling our products 4 to 5 days a week. So I work in retail now. So running the business and working in retail is hard because when I'm working retail, my mind is just on retail. I've got targets to hit. This is my livelihood. This is how I make my money. But then when I'm I need to have that holistic view, but it's hard when you're in it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and I feel like a lot of business owners will relate to that. But I guess obviously we touched on you telling your young self about budgeting, and obviously now as a business owner, it's so important to budget. So I guess for aspiring or current business owners right now, how do you actually go about budgeting and also just allocating your money accordingly so you don't find yourself to a point where you've overspent or you find yourself in financial difficulty because you maybe got a little bit overexcited?
Yeah. So one mistake I made was when I was budgeting, I budget, right?
Yeah.
But you shouldn't really be spending 100% of your money every month.
100, you shouldn't at all.
but for some reason, I thought that was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But then I'm looking, I'm like, this is, and the reason why I thought it was okay is because I was trying to grow the business too quickly.
Yeah.
Myself and my business partners. So you shouldn't be spending 100%. When it comes to like your savings account, I think it's important to have a different bank account as your savings account.
Yeah.
So that the money that's in savings, you don't see it. So it's like the money's gone. But yeah, allocating a percentage to savings, allocating a percentage to profit sharing and bonus sharing.
Okay, yes.
Allocating that, allocating a percentage to tax.
100%.
Even if your expenses are so high that you don't have to pay tax, you still need to have that, money
buffer.
there. Yeah, have that buffer there and just get used to doing that. And then having an allocation to just miscellaneous contingency, and then having an allocation to project work, so things that you want to do to grow the business. And then of course you have your normal expenses, your normal bills, and your staff costs if you have staff. But don't spend everything. Like, don't spend 100% of the money. Try and spend, I don't know, 60, 70%. And basically treat it how you treat your personal finances if you're really trying to achieve a goal. So for example, if you're trying to buy a house, you're going to save a lot of money. So because it's business money, sometimes it feels like
it's not yours.
It's not yours. Yeah, so that's what I would say
Yeah,
when it comes to budgeting.
I agree with you. I've this year specifically have had to portion off some of my business bank account to different savings accounts because it got to a point where I was like, oh, this money's looking good. But then also you realise how much you have to fund. Like, I have
Yeah.
to fund the studio space. I have to fund the venue for like our next live event, etc., etc. And I think sometimes you can see that money get overexcited. So I think those tips are really good.
Yeah.
Now I'm keen to know, OJ, what has been the hardest thing you've found running a business?
So for me, the hardest thing I've found is just switching off.
Yeah.
So for example, when I was working in corporate, let's say I'm working on a big project and the project's really stressing me out. I can block that out on the weekend. I'll go and have some fun with my
Yeah.
friends and I'll block it out. But with the business, the hardest thing I found is just switching off. I can't switch off because it's the one of the most, it's the only thing I care about right now.
Yeah. I relate.
I care about other things as well, but this is like, I feel like once this is doing what it needs to do, everything else will fall in line. Everything else will be okay. I just need this to get to a certain point and to perform at a certain level, and then everything else will fall into place. But yeah, so it's just switching off and finding time to make memories with your loved ones.
Yeah.
And even when you're there with your loved ones, being present. So you can be there, but are you present? Is your mind there? So the hardest thing for me is really been trying to make sure I connect with my friends, my family, and and making sure I give them that time, because at the end of the day, when business isn't doing well, or if anything happens with the business, those are the people I'm going to fall back on. So I need to make sure that I'm there for them as well.
Yeah.
So that's been the hardest thing, just juggling that. I mean, my friends, sometimes they go play tennis, they go to the gym. I want to go with them, but I might be tired or I might have something going on. So it's just, I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah, and I'm glad you were honest there, because I feel like on LinkedIn can be a very toxic place, right? Where there's these like multi-millionaires that are on there and they're like, I don't graft anymore. I'd make money in my sleep, blah, blah, blah. Life is easy, life is chill. It's like, when in reality, the early days of really growing your business, a lot of graft goes into it, which a lot of people don't understand, do they?
A lot of graft goes into it. I wear so many different hats. Like today, I've just come back from an office move, so I had to rent a van. I've been driving a van all day, moving things around, basically a handyman. So I have to wear different hats with your business, and this work I'm doing now is preparing me for something else in future. I don't know what it is, but it's preparing me for something else.
Maybe business number 4, 5, 6, 7.
There you go. So you got to wear a lot of hats, and you got to put the work in, and you got to enjoy what you're doing.
Yes.
If you don't enjoy what you're doing, if you don't enjoy what you're building, I mean, I like beard oil, but I think the passion for me is just building something with my friends.
Yeah.
I think that's what brings it for me. And then when I see my staff, my young staff, so many young men and women that we've given opportunities to, so many small businesses that we've invested in, like there's a reason why all the money that comes in goes out, because we're investing in a lot of different different businesses. So I think when you see the opportunities that you're providing for people, and then you see the relationship that you have with your staff, like my staff, some of them like my friends really, and they make me feel even younger than I'm still young, but they make me feel young.
You do look quite young.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's not give the illusion to our listeners that you're an old man, because you are quite young.
I'm young. Yeah.
So I guess for those listening to the podcast or watching on the podcast, and they are keen to kind of start their very own business, what 3 tips would you give them?
Upskill.
Okay.
Upskill. So make sure that you have the right skills. You want to start a business, you don't know nothing about marketing, so maybe you think, oh, let me hire someone or delegate that to someone else. No, learn about marketing first.
Yeah.
Learn about email marketing. Learn about all aspects of digital marketing, and do it yourself for a bit before you then decide to pass it on, because then you have a better understanding of it. And get out there. A lot of people go to networking events, which is great, but then if you're going to a networking event, you need to have a reason as to why you're going there. Is there someone there that you need to speak to? Is there something you need from that person? Going to networking events for the sake of going to networking events, I feel like is a waste of time.
100%. It's just basically like party, basically.
Yeah,
isn't it?
so you need to be very intentional with why you're going there. And then I would say finding a team. And even if it's not a team that works with you or someone that's part of your company, finding a team that you can be accountable with. So it could be someone else that's starting a business, and you could just have that person as your battery. So when you're learning something new, they're learning something new. You come together and you share those ideas. But you need a team. You can't do it by yourself. You'll crash and burn.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I'd add to that when it comes to like finding your team is like maybe a mentor as well at the very early days. I had a very, very good mentor, Tom, and he helped me a lot in the early days, just giving me ideas. Because I think sometimes there's only so much your brain can do, right? And obviously you're fortunate that you have co-founders, but I think having mentors, having friends and family support, you know, just people you can kind of bounce with, also people you can kind of cry with, moan with, it's
definitely.
so important, isn't it?
Very, very important. I mean, I'm a retail now, so I connect with other retail managers. And for example, there was another kiosk. He had a bad day. I had a bad day as well. So when I'm having a bad day, I'll go to him like, "How much are you guys on today?" He will say whatever they're on. I'm like, "Yeah, that's what we're on." This place is crap, isn't it? We start, you know,
moaning
to each other, or these guys, these staff, they're so lazy, they don't want to work.
Yeah.
We start moaning. So yeah, having that person that you can bounce off is really important. It's very, very important.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I guess to add on that, is there anything aspiring or maybe current business owners should be doing that maybe comes front of mind? Just to kind of put themselves out there a bit more if they're struggling with sales. Is there anything you recommend?
I'd say personal brands is quite important these days. And building a personal brand. I know it's one of the things that I'm even starting to think about. And what I would say to business owners is anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, makes you feel anxious, is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So if something makes you feel uncomfortable and you don't like the idea of doing it, then that's the more reason why you have to tell yourself, I have to do it now. Because in my mind is telling me I can't do this thing, so I have to do it. And even if you do it and you fail, it doesn't matter, you've done it, it's a lesson. Yeah. So anything that, you know, makes you uncomfortable, make sure you do it. And those sort of things, and just putting in the work. You have to work like you've never worked before. If you want to see results that you've never seen before, you have to work like you've never worked before. You have to do things that you've never done before. And just stop being lazy.
Yeah.
Don't be lazy.
No, I agree.
And what's the worst that's going to happen? Nothing. Like, you're just going to learn. You're going to learn from the experience. It's a lesson. There's no such thing as failure in my book. Everything's a lesson.
Yeah,
That's
no,
how
I love that.
life. Everything's a lesson.
I agree with what you said, but I think in this day and age, a lot of people like our age, like millennials, Gen Z, crave instant gratification. So when something doesn't work within 1-2 weeks, a month, 2 months, they already want to give up.
Yeah.
So like, how do you kind of battle the inner demons of being like, oh, forget this, let me go on to the next project or XYZ?
You have to look back. Okay. So I've been doing this for a month or 2 months, for example. What have I achieved in that time? Like, what's the small wins?
Yeah.
Because the small wins build up the big win. So the little things that you do will build up the big win. So you have to look at that, and you have to be grateful for every little thing that you achieve. And if you're not grateful for those things, then even when the big wins come, they're going to pass you by. You're going to be happy for a bit, but then you're not going to appreciate it because you didn't appreciate the small wins.
Yeah.
So it's just making sure you appreciate the small wins and giving yourself some grace. Yeah, giving yourself some grace and knowing that it's not gonna be easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
My mum says it all the time.
Yeah, everyone will be doing it. There's a reason why you're going through this challenge, and you have to keep fighting. And of course, if it's getting to a point where it's affecting your mental health, and it's just you've been doing something for a few years and it's not yielding, then maybe the idea doesn't work.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to go back to the drawing board. Maybe you have to speak to people who have been in your shoes, who are doing what you're doing, and you know, having an honest conversation with them and asking them what they think. But you don't have to take it as gospel, but just getting that view. But if you've seen small wins and you're passionate about what you're doing, I would say always do it. And then if you're doing it for money, then it's gonna be hard to keep motivated when you're not making money. So it's hard, but then again, it goes down to your tribe, the people you have around you.
Yeah.
Those are the people that will make you feel like you need to keep going.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think giving yourself grace is so important. That's a hard lesson I've given myself this year, because I feel like when you're like a certain trajectory and you're not hitting the targets you want and stuff, it's so easy to like beat yourself up over it. So I think giving yourself grace is really, really important. And I've just loved learning about yourself and your journey and how you scaled this business, because I think what you've done is incredible. And I guess my final question to kind of round up the conversation today is, what tip would you give someone who wants to start their business? They've got an idea, but they're too scared to start. What piece of advice would you give them?
if you're too scared to start the business, then that means you're too scared to appreciate the success of the business. So if you're scared to start it, then that means when the money's flowing and things are going great, you're gonna be scared to spend the money.
True.
You're gonna be scared to spend. I was just say, if you're too scared to start, then I'd ask yourself, why are you scared? Is it because of failure?
Yeah.
And then that means that you see failure as a bad thing. And if you see failure as a bad thing, then you're in trouble. Because I remember what I said, failure is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
All the businesses that I've started and failed. So for example, I started a rental company twice.
Okay.
So I started one in uni with my friend, and it was a disaster.
Okay.
Very stressful, but we didn't know what we were doing. And then I started a rental company again later on by myself. But the difference this time was that I had a mentor.
Okay.
So I had someone who was doing it at a very large scale that I met and I built a good relationship with. And he basically gave me the blueprint.
Okay.
And he showed me everything I needed to know. So all the mistakes that I would have made, I avoided them. Whenever I had an issue, I called him up, 5 minutes on the phone to him, solution.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, having the right people. So if you're scared, then that means you're scared of failure and you can't see failure as a bad thing. But then also reaching out to the right people, and those people give you that comfort, because if you've seen someone or you know someone that's doing what you're trying to do, it might be hard to get a relationship with them if they're they're gone and you don't have that time. But then there's other people that you might be able to reach out to that might be doing things at a lower level. But yeah, reaching out to them and just building that connection with them, you'd be surprised. This world is a big world.
It
A lot
is.
of people doing different things in different countries.
Yeah.
So you should be able to find one person that you can latch onto or you can connect with. And the thing is, when you're trying to build connections with people, if you're not doing the work, no one's interested in what you have to say.
Yeah.
If I can't see what you're doing and you're not putting in the work, then I don't have time for you, because
you're not serious.
you're not serious. I'm not gonna give you, or the person whoever's doing the work is not gonna give you the answers. They need to see. You need to come with questions, and they can give you solutions based on their experience. So reaching out to the right people that are doing what you're doing and not viewing failure as a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I'd
what
say.
a beautiful way to round the podcast off.
Thank you.
Well, no, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. Like I said, I've loved learning about beard surgeon, your journey, and just your success. I think you've been on a crazy journey, considering you've had multiple ventures, and here you are today sitting in the studio with a 7-figure business, which is incredible. And I guess to round off, if anyone wanted to kind of follow you online or actually check out Beard Surgeon, where can they go to do so?
Yeah, so you can go to, if you're in London, you can go to Westfield Stratford, or you can go to Westfield London, aka White City, to get our products. If you're in Manchester, you can go to our new branch. Our new kiosk is in Manchester. Or you can visit our website, beardsurgeon.co.uk. And for me, you can follow me on Instagram, OJE_E. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, come to our kiosk, experience what we're doing. It's quite rare to find 3 young black men from South London selling their products in a retail space. So come and see what it's about. Meet us. We're very, very open. We're on the shop floor and we're very transparent. And we just want to grow this community and grow this brand. So the next target is 8 figures. And then at first we wanted to expand to the international markets, but I think there's a lot of things going on in the UK. There's a lot of opportunities in the UK that people are sleeping on. The UK is a very, very big place. It's not as big as the other places, but UK is really, really big.
Yeah.
And Manchester's shown me that. So up north, I want to make more friends up north.
Okay, I've got quite a lot of people up north that listen to the podcast.
Yeah, I want to make more friends up north. I really like the vibe and the energy up there. But yeah, so just grow the business and continue to work and enjoy the process.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.